Well, here we are, up and right on time. You have impeccable timing. Impeccable timing.
Why is that?
I just went live.
Wow.
I have been waiting and redoing the topics and the whole thing since 10 o'clock. And I mean, not to get too personal, but since then I've used the bathroom a couple of times. I listened to music. I was going to put some 80s music on.
Well,
And I remembered last week I did a little bit of music and Facebook said no music and they got rid of it, right?
really?
Yeah, not the whole video, but just that part. I was gonna play Only the Good Die Young.
How about do a little dance, make a little love?
Too. You know, I've listened to Only the Good Die Young by Billy Joel probably 1,000 times. And it just took me to now to realize the whole song is about him trying to get into Virginia's pants.
Yes.
The whole thing. And it made me think of, I actually had it as an alternate title. Sometimes you just got to listen to the words to the song of life. You know what I mean? Like you hear the music, but you don't really hear what's going on. You don't really see between the lines. So also in the spirit of this video, I'm going to give you all of the topics because I know you're just coming in from a meeting. One of them was about coming together. I did a post yesterday about, the simple whatever. We're going to talk about that. But a lot of this world is about agreeing on things. And I was like, you know what New Yorkers agree on no matter what? Long Island Sun, Billy Joel. I mean, show me a New York. I just happen to have the T-shirt on. It's Veterans Day. Show me a New Yorker that doesn't love Billy Joel. I mean, that's like fighting words, right? I mean, no?
I agree.
There's nothing quite like a bar in New York. People don't know what New York is like. I mean, I miss so many parts about it. And I'd say, you go into a bar in New York, you almost can't hear the music.
Yeah, because the people talking, screaming,
Talk, right?
yelling. Yeah.
They're talking. You can't hide in New York, right? I love it. All right. So this is how I put it up here, Pops. The one, the only, the often copied, never duplicated, and always original, the Dave and Dave Show. Episode 93. 93 is when you got your first luxury car. You remember this?
No.
93 is when you got the Lexus. No? The black Lexus?
I don't remember that car. What black Lexus?
Are you shitting me? You don't remember the black Lexus, that the long black with the gray leather, and you parked it in front of Caldwell? You don't remember?
Oh yeah, I do remember it. Yes, God Almighty, that's a way back. Yeah, it was a nice car.
That was the first car where I was like, wow, we made it.
Wow, I forgot about that car. It was so long ago.
I'll never forget that car because before that, we had the Ford Escort that Marianne Pogue sold you. And that was the first new car I think I've ever seen you buy in your entire life.
I bought new cars before you were born.
And that was like very secure, stable. And you put how many miles on that thing?
What, the Ford?
Yeah, the Ford.
Probably 120,000.
So then you give me this thing as my first car. Tell the story.
So I say to him, I used it as I was a firefighter, so I was commuting back and forth to the city. And I said to him, the tires aren't the greatest. Everything is sort of going to break. Whatever you do, don't load the car with a ton of your friends, because I could guarantee you're going to get a flat.
No, you didn't tell me I was going to get a flat. You just said, don't put a ton of people in the car. First day, my Port Jeff friends, I get in the car. I put 4 of us in the car. I
Tiny
go to
car.
Coliseo's. Coliseo's is one of the best pizza places in Port Jeff. What I would do for a slice from Sleo's right now. Um, and I got a flat. It just
And
and
I
yeah.
yelled at him, how many guys do you have in the car, Dave?
So in pure Dave Tina senior form, I I didn't know what a donut was, so everyone was like, "We got to get the spare out." So my father had the whole back. It was a hatchback. He had it filled with shit. Right. I remember you even had one of my own boom boxes in there because you refused to throw anything out. I had to empty it all out. Everyone was late to get back to their classes because it was during lunch. And I remember pulling out the donut and saying to my friend, "There's no way that this car is going to go on this little tire." He's like, "No, that's the way it goes." I'm like, "No way." He could not convince me that the donut worked. So that's 1993.
But it worked.
And what he also didn't tell me, I went on the Long Island Expressway, which is like the friggin' Autobahn. And so I tried to go in the fast lane, and all of a sudden I'm driving and I'm at 55 miles an hour. And at the time, I didn't even know what a governor was, but the thing must have had a governor on it, or it just couldn't handle it.
You
And
couldn't handle it.
it starts shaking the steering wheel, and then it just shut off. It just stalled out, and I stalled out on the left lane on the Long Island Expressway. People beeping me, New Yorkers, they're so nice. And but it turned right back on. uh, Good times, Pops.
And what did I say? I'm not giving you a good car because you're a new driver and you're going to get in an accident. That's what
Day before I moved to Vegas,
you got in an accident.
totaled the whole thing. Was
Yeah.
not my fault.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't your fault.
But a Bronco got me. So the topic today is just give a shit. I also put the market that is deaf, dumb, and blind to everything but the numbers. Record median Las Vegas price of 340,200. I also put ain't no party like a Dave Tina party. I'm going to talk about my post from last night that I think you read. Analog versus digital, and versus or, and what we can learn from Goonies, Point Break, Wedding Crashes, and Field of Dreams. So let's jump into the market first.
The market is phenomenal. As long as these interest rates are staying low, Dave said we broke the ceiling on our median price, highest ever. Inventory is very low. Sales are robust. So we have a great, great market right now.
I'll tell you what, you know who really doesn't give a shit? The market doesn't care. The market doesn't care about the election. The market doesn't care right now about
Coronavirus.
it just doesn't care.
Thank God. Thank God for the realtors out there and for the home sellers and buyers that the market is strong and lets everybody move on to do what they have to do right now.
And this is somewhat of a real estate show, although we talk about everything. So we do owe it to you to have a quick conversation about the numbers. And the numbers are basically this. We said before the election, we'll say now, does not matter who the president is. We think Biden's going to probably end up doing a $15,000 tax credit. It's going to prop up the market even more. The rates will probably stay low. We keep the same Fed. There's going to be probably a stimulus, whether it's 500 billion or 2 trillion. There's going to be money influxed into the economy, probably more PPP, probably more stimulus for each individual people. That means the market's staying hot for the foreseeable future if all those things stay the same. Agreed?
Agreed.
Only thing to keep an eye on is we probably have some runway to make money on the way up, whether it's 12, 24, 36 months. Be aware of things that can change. We talked about this yesterday in Nest Connect. Just one indicator of a vaccine in the stock market went haywire. And kind of like what I said, you got to listen to the words to the songs. you also have to read past the headlines, right? What did we see past, Pops? I mean, even though the market went up 1,000 points, there was some other things to keep an eye on, like we talked about. You want to jump in?
Zoom dropped because what is flying high now in a pandemic, certain businesses are doing better than ever, will then turn and drop down when we go back to normal life. So Pfizer stocks went off the roof because of the vaccine and the possibility. Probably next year, puppy buying will slow down because dogs and cats, and I mean, you can't get a pet in a shelter, they say, because I just bought a puppy and people are saying to me, oh, you should have went to a shelter. Well, if I told you how many applications I put in for dogs, I'm not going to buy a pit bull. I got 3 grandbabies, and I'm not saying pit bulls are bad, but I'm not buying a boxer. I'm not buying any big dog, and a lot of the ones in the shelters are big. I want a dog that I know will be easy for my granddaughters too. So I put in for small dogs, mutts. I didn't care what they were. I couldn't get any of them. If they were even cute, they were gone. That shows you a side of the pandemic. Dogs are in. So finally, I got a puppy coming in a few weeks, but that business is soaring. Anything related to it is soaring. And you know what?
Let's hope the inverse doesn't happen and everyone gives up their dogs when this ends.
Well, another thing I was reading, Dave, that I guess I missed was the governor spoke yesterday about a 2-week. Do you know about that? He spoke about banking down for 2 weeks. So I would like to maybe take a deeper dive in that. I just read that. That sounds very logical. So
is there any, before we jump into this, because before people start getting triggered and annoyed, let's start with, did you see the picture of this little
I wrote to Angie.
Oh my God.
She sends one almost every day. It is my joy. How you feel your
see
body.
This face?
I can't, you know what? Gianna's starting to look like Gianna. She's starting to look like, oh, does she look like Lola? Does she look like Ella? Does she look like Dave? Does she look like Angie? She's getting her own Gianna.
Yeah.
I loved it though. I saw it, and the joy went filtering through me.
Yeah.
Cute and smiling. That's what I really loved. Everyone should take her smile and share it.
I didn't mean to talk about this today, but before you jump in, I think it's apropos to put it together, is the way people reacted to me having a child, Angie and I having Gianna, is about as bipartisan and American as you can get. The love, even people who are really angry and they give off an angry vibe on social, and their whole demeanor changes when there's a baby involved,
Which shows you in the end, if we get past the divide, which I believe we will, that there's good in all of us, and basically we're all good people. We just need to take some of that anger and divide on both sides and calm it down and move on to a happy place. Because if you're not at a happy place with COVID, and what's going around, every day I open my eyes and say, thank you, God. I am alive, I feel good, and I'm happy to be in this world another day.
So, I mean, we could talk about the governor, but here's what's going to happen. If you're a Republican, you're going to hate Sisolak. If you're a Democrat, you're going to say, oh, thank you, governor. If you're a business owner, you may hate Sisolak. Like, there's so much stuff
but none of that means anything.
I understand, but think about, we're going to say, no matter what we say, people get triggered. It's unbelievable.
There was posts going on, which used to piss me off personally, so I'm going to be honest. And they'd say, hey, do you know anyone that got COVID? And I'd look and say to myself, all right, I'm not going to answer meanly. Well, in the last few weeks on Facebook, and half the people aren't saying they have it, but half the people are, I can name in the real estate industry at least 20 people that got COVID this week. So that stupid post is like, hey, do you know anyone? No. So when I talk about the governor's banking down for 2 weeks, he's not telling you not to work. He's saying amp the safeness of it. I just had an agent call me, and he's at an appraisal. You know, the appraiser came in with no mask and doesn't own a mask. That's not the way we want to do business in this industry.
It's the way we're gonna get shut. It's just we get shut down. You know, like
and then the complaints will really come. So,
but it becomes it's a political statement. It might as well be a hat.
It isn't political for me. It's a business statement for me, and it's a love statement for me.
I agree.
So here's my answer. I care for each and every one of you, as Dave does. We don't want to see you get sick. That's the love statement.
Well, I came up with it. I came up with a decent. I saw that you liked it, but you never know when you like something if you read it or not, because you're just a little like prostitute.
What, on your post?
Yeah.
I comment. I did a 3
No, but the one today where someone, a friend of ours, an agent of ours, has some health issues, and he's like, I agree with this post, and I'm talking to people still, and
right.
And someone was like, well, you know, you should, you know, that's what we should do, and talk to people. And I'm like, listen, I know you have health issues. I know if anyone has to worry about this, it's you. I said, I care about you. Just be safe. This person took offense, and nowhere did I read that you were hugging strangers. I was like, yo. And I came up with a decent, I believe, if I say so myself.
She went to the other end in the post, and she isn't even part of the circle we're in.
I thought my metaphor was good. If someone's drinking all night and they go to leave the house or the bar, it is an infringement on their rights if I grab them and say you aren't driving.
No.
It is an infringement on their rights, because if I physically, right? There's no guarantee they're going to get an accident. No guarantee they're going to kill themselves. No guarantee that they're going to kill somebody else. But guess what? If I love you and you're my friend,
you bet.
I'm taking your keys. I don't give a shit.
Which I answer to you, no, because every friend and anyone I ever met, if that was a situation, I would never let them drive. I care too much and would live in guilt if I let them go out and start that car and kill themselves, someone else, or hurt, or so.
And that was my point. I remembered the 80s, and I remembered the Hands Across America, which has been ruined for me forever with that movie Us. But Hands Across America and We Are the World. Like, now listen, we may have pretended or did a better job pretending we give a shit. But man, didn't it feel like at least we had this expectation of pride that there's an issue and we're going to try to fix it together, right? So, like, talk about taking a punch for the team. That's all we're asking. Like, I don't care. Like, if you want to go into your own house and do your thing, but it's just common courtesy. It's not politics. It's just doing the right thing. So let's jump into Sisolak. Go for it.
So basically, our numbers are rising very strong. And for those of you out there, I can't tell you how many people in the last 10 days either said on Facebook or called us and said they have COVID. Now, by the grace of God, they're all going to heal and be eating Thanksgiving dinner, and everyone's going to be happy. But we definitely have a spike. So Sisolak said, rather than impose what happened in March of this year, just take a proactive. If you don't have to go out, if you don't have to give a party, stay home. That's all he basically said. If you don't have to go in the office, don't go in to say hello to people you haven't seen. Stay home.
Oh, it's tough. Listen.
All is said.
COVID fatigue is a real thing.
And I have it.
And the irony is, every time you start feeling like, all right, this is good to go, June, July, October, then whew,
Yeah.
and the 5 stages of COVID denial or acceptance are something like, not going to happen to me. And guess what? Odds are 100%. Tough getting it. Most likely nothing going to happen to you. But then you get it. And what my friends have usually said to me is like, they go from don't want to get it to I got to live my life to, oh shit, I was exposed to somebody. Maybe I should get tested. I'm negative, to back to living my life, to justifying the earth. Guess what? We're all justifying how we handle it, good or bad, right? That's life. To, uh-oh, I got it. To, I'm not really worried. I'm healthy and young. To, I'm a little scared because there's outliers and variables. To, I'm fine. To, it's not really that bad. To, holy shit, I found out someone I know, maybe one separated, just died. To, how old was he or she? To, were they underlying conditions? To, you know what I mean? Like, that's the whole level. But I want you, like, I was going to tell the story for you, but it's not my story to tell. Are you
Uh-oh.
comfortable talking about your heart
Yeah.
and the flu?
Yeah. I'm comfortable. So at 52, it was right after my birthday. They gave me a 52nd birthday party in what was that restaurant, David?
Bertolini's right on.
Bertolini's
Yep.
on Sahara. And a few months later, I said to Dave, you know, my allergies are really bothering me.
But wait, the December before that, or me
Right,
and you were living together,
right. And we got the flu
so bad that
so
even my
bad that we had a doctor come to the house for me. I have never had, since I was a child, when the doctors used to come to your bedside, I have never had a doctor come to the house, but I couldn't get out of bed without everything happening. And I got it bad, very, very bad. And then we went to the doctor in July, and I said, Dave, I want you to come with me. And at that point, we weren't going to each other's doctor's visits because my doctor our doctor was a phenomenal doctor, but you waited in the waiting room an hour and a
Truzo,
half
he was the best.
to 2 hours. We go in, I'm walking, and he says, how'd you get here? I said, uh-oh. And he had bushy eyebrows and they were down in a deep frown. And he said, can you walk? And I said, yeah, I walked in. And he said, you got congestive heart failure so bad, I need you to walk across the parking lot to Sunrise Hospital and check yourself in. And you're not going to get out because you do have congestive
They
heart.
thought you needed a stint, right? They thought
Right.
you had blockages, so you had to do the angiogram. Thought
I did the angiogram. I coded on the table, so they had to use the things to bring me back.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't say it. And they said, oh, it would have been good news if you had a blockage or if you had a stent to be put in. But the bad news is you have congestive heart failure and your injection fraction is a 16. A normal man should be 60 at 52. So basically, my heart was no longer pumping into my body. And then when I went up there, they said, if you make it past tonight, and I said, what did you say? Said, if you make it past tonight, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
I remember they said you may have 3 days to live, get your affairs in order. I collapsed. It was unbelievable. And
right.
no cause. Remember, they couldn't figure it out. They were like, maybe
they called it idiopathic, but they believe it was from the severe flu. And fortunately, the pills came on. I got a defibrillator put in me. And 16 years later, I am stronger than I've ever been. But it does give me an underlying condition, which is why but
there's a second moral to this story, though.
Go ahead.
This is what we've talked about. You don't know. You may go through the worst coronavirus, even if you just think it's a flu. Look what the flu did to my father. Because yes, flus have this effect on people every single year. Yes, people die from the flu every single year. I don't even think we're at the point of disputing that. But if the coronavirus has the effect on any of us like it has on him, it may have to deal with some stuff in 6 months.
Well, they're saying that a lot of people are getting heart issues and congestive heart failure. So that point is being made. 16 years later, I saw Dave get married. I saw Angie, who I love, 3 grandchildren, a successful business for the last 9 years. Life has been beautiful.
That's,
Absolutely beautiful.
people talk about living a lifetime in 16 years, right? I was 26, thought I was going to lose my best friend. I mean, if something happened to you, I remember us saying I was going to basically take all my inheritance and disappear. I didn't want to see anybody that I even knew, both of us, because I didn't want to talk about you because I wouldn't be able to handle it. And then here, after that, you lived like 2 lifetimes. You became um, general manager of a company. You did your whole GLVAR and NVR and NAR stuff. Me and you became partners in 8 years and almost 9 years of Own This. I got married, got 3 kids. Like, you got to be a grandpa 3 times. Like, 16 years is a long time. What we're
Only
saying
the
to you
good die young. Going back.
is, yeah, I mean, don't lick toilets for another couple of months and get a vaccine. Like, I just,
Well, you know, I'm going on a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and one of the questions I'm going to ask is, do you have to go in line to get the vaccine? Because when I called him about my flu shot, which I now take, he said, "Oh, we're all out." So I am going to be, I know a lot of you people about vaccine are a little crazy, but the older generation, we were in school and they used to put, I have a big polio shot on my arm. And then we used to take sugar cubes, which had vaccines in them. And there wasn't even a choice. They say, David, Tina, yes, boom, next.
yeah.
And in this case, in my heart of hearts, I believe the only thing to bring us back to a normal life is going to be vaccines, because
Well,
obviously we're not doing it on our own.
again, so part of this, let's jump. I like jumping.
I only jump because my brain jumps.
I have this whole conversation, which is a big conversation, of and versus or. You've heard me talk about this a ton of times. And it's the Stockholm paradox of being able to hold 2 differing opinions at the same time that are counterintuitive to each other. So, for instance, we're dealing with all of the decisions on vaccinations for Gianna right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Bueller? You there?
Yeah, I'm writing my list.
And listen, Angie reads all the stuff, which, by the way, the algorithms find out that Angie is talked to Brian Lebo about this the other day. The algorithms know that Angie's a new mom. The algorithms see that Angie looks up organic breast milk. And the next thing you know, the algorithms is pushing anti-vax stuff to her. That's social media. That's life, people, right? Then you start looking for and finding what you believe. So what we've done with the first 2 girls and what we're going to do with Gianna is, yes, we're going to do vaccinations, but we're going to spread them out. We're not going to do 10 at once. We're not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're going to let the body have a chance. Well, even this new vaccine, I don't know if you know it, you take 1 shot and then you go in 3 weeks later to take the second shot to give your body time to acclimate to the first. So,
and who knows? There's risks. I mean, you're not old enough for polio vaccine when it first came out, right? I'm not good with polio vaccine. Was way before you, right?
No, we were with, no, some of my friends got polio.
Oh, okay. So is that like weird thing on your, is it?
Yeah, Pete, Pete, Lenny and Pete, he had polio.
Oh, wow.
That's Pete. You know who I mean.
Yep, I know exactly. You're going way back. Is
Yeah.
that weird thing on your arm with the dots? Is that your polio vaccination?
That is.
Right.
Thank you for making it sound wonderful.
Well, everyone your age has that, right?
Yes.
Would anyone, I guess people do question, but you definitely get a measles. I mean, 2 measles shots, and you got 97% chance of not getting it. And
Yeah.
again, I don't want to make this a vaccination conversation. Some people are going to get it and some people aren't. Like, we'll get one step closer to where we got to go. So I know we took a long detour, but basically Sisolak was like, the numbers are going up, which they are. We know a shit ton of people. It's
exponentially going up. I mean,
and
it's going up.
you see every day there's a video saying I got COVID. I relaxed. There's a post every day saying I got COVID and feel like poop. So, regardless of what you believe, it's time to be careful because he did say something about shutting down real
He
estate.
just said 2 weeks. That's all he asked, 2 weeks, just to see if we do this, will the numbers go down? That's all he's asking.
It's a tough game too, because like someone asked him a question like, well, you want people to stay home, but are you telling people not to come to Vegas? Which is a loaded question. I mean, it's such a tough question because you don't want the strip to die, but you want to protect people. It's so hard. And
well, and I think you could be, I'm not saying not to come to the strip and not go out. I'm talking about safety. If I went to the strip to gamble and stayed there, just take me because I like playing video poker. I could stay in a room and be safe. I could gamble and be safe. I don't know how safe you are eating out with other people with no masks on if they're symptomatic, asymptomatic, that they can't give it to you.
I will tell you this.
Can I do 90% of the trip? Absolutely.
My anniversary, Angie and I went out and we went to Yellowtail. We lucked out. We got this private little balcony. But even inside of the restaurant, there were glass partitions between people. They were spaced out. All the waiters and waitresses are masked up.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't know that.
I didn't feel uncomfortable. Now, inside the casino, I don't know if I'd play a table game, but the people at the slots and the video poker were spaced very well. It was more crowded than I thought. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean that's precautionary. That's what I'm saying. It's the people that the minute they walk out of the supermarket, they rip their mask off. And there's 30 people walking out of the supermarket.
Yeah, I rip mine off. I just stay away from it. I go for walks. I don't wear a mask for the walk.
I don't either.
So,
but you know what they do in Red Rock Country Club? It's a street is 50 feet
walk to the other side.
Like 30 feet away, one person looks at the other and walks to the street. There's precaution.
Of course. And then even though you feel like you're a leper, you say to the person, thanks, like.
You do the wave, hey.
Yeah. So I did mention, and it's like, I could feel this. I hate that I think this way. I could feel like when I talk about something, there's sides, and which side will like when I talk about one thing and like when I talk about another.
I don't care.
That's
old age.
I know one side likes when I say that, this country needs an enema. It could take the stick out of your ass. And I was reading the post that I put to Angie, or that I did yesterday to Angie, and I'm reading it to her. And the minute I got to the part about more so than anything, we need the 3 essentials of a great Tina party: good music, lots of booze, and a place to dance. It's pretty much the cure for anything, especially those redwoods of people. The minute I say, she's like, yeah. And I posted, ain't no party like a Dave Tina party. And the Tinas could always.
You left out one thing though.
What? Good food?
Good food.
I mean,
good food.
It helps, but it's not essential of the element.
No, you're right.
It's almost like the essential of a good urban nest party, right? And that's the thing. Like, I start thinking, man, it's a shame that what we need more than ever right now is to come together, and we can't. But what I did see on a lot of these comments was make a phone call to somebody. And, I don't want to get deep, but even the suicide hotline is all about talking to someone. I got a couple of friends who are having a hard time, and they're doing a good job of isolating themselves and just hiding. And then if I don't call them and break their chops and be like, what's up? What are you doing? Where you're at? They won't call me. Not because they don't want to talk to me. It's because they're just hiding themselves on a Tom Hanks island, right? And every single week when I teach relationship-based business, I'm like, you got to call people, you know? And this isn't just business, this is life. People want to talk. And if you can't get together and break bread and have a drink and have a coffee, call them on the phone. I mean, aren't we just basically having a conversation with people right now and with each other?
Yeah,
People who watch, they're just part of a conversation. They need to connect to feel that they're not alone,
I
right?
agree. I
What are you
agree.
taking?
And
What are you
go
supposed to
ahead.
be taking notes on over there? What are you doing with your glasses?
I shut my ringer. I didn't want it to come off. But I will tell you this, I want to bring this up and has nothing, again, I'm jumping. Thank you, all our veterans. Thank you for what you've done. It is Veterans Day. Our office we gave all our staff the day off, but thank you for your service. Thank you for your bravery. And without you, we wouldn't be able to be giving the show that we're giving right now. So I want to shout out, and I love, love, love on Facebook, looking at all our friends when they went into the military, and they look like, it's mostly guys posting, they look like they were anywhere from 18 to 19 years old. And I go, is that them? And that's great that they're doing it, but a hearty thank you from Dave and I on that.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that, while I am a pacifist in nature when it comes to war, um, it is the ultimate sacrifice. Jumping again, I was watching Point Break last night, which is like a '90s movie.
Yeah, I know it.
Poor Patrick Swayze, I miss him. But there's a great quote in there from Patrick Swayze. It goes something like, "Oh, if you want the ultimate, you've got to be willing to pay the ultimate price." And that makes me think of the veterans. And another thing that should not be politicized, but becomes politicized, is whatever reasons people go, whatever their beliefs, whatever the reasons, whatever, they still are giving up and risking their lives. That's why people respect you being in the fire department for so long. You know what I mean? When you did your 20 years in New York. So, all right. Do you have any other notes? Any NAR stuff you could share with us?
Basically, I can't tell you how hard a year it's been being virtual. And, we try our best and they've done a great job. But basically, committee reports, there's a lot of the professional standards. Motion is the biggest thing, but they believe we got to take a step towards professionalism. And I'm not going to get into that here, but that's a biggie. And next week is the fun week. This is all the governance meetings, and next week starts all the speakers and motivational and how do I make my business better? And it isn't free. There is a no. So if you want to just go nar.org and you could go on, maybe you could see tapes of it or you could pay the fee. It's still open, but this week is all about.
Because why should it be free when we pay dues every year for
That part, I'm not going to debate, but there's big time speakers that they're paying and whatever. I'm saying that you asked me what's going on so far, and it's just a lot of hard work, a lot of struggles. Realtors are all thankful across the United States that they're working. We're a group that are working, and they're thankful for the great market. So as bad and changeable as the year may have been due to COVID, it's still been, for all of us that are realtors, a successful year. So they were all thankful.
Well, it reminds me of there was an Inman post about this site called Parlor, and yeah, I'm going there, which is actually two guys from Henderson, and it's a conservative site and it's supposedly a free speech site. And I was thinking of echo chambers yesterday, because NAR always reminds me of an echo chamber as well. And I was thinking of how ironic echo chambers are. And I was thinking that if we keep only going to places where we hear what our thoughts back to us, which is basically an echo chamber, right? That eventually it becomes Lord of the Flies, right? And I guarantee you, if you put all conservatives in one social network, eventually they'll break up into two groups. Just like if you put all liberals in one group, they'll break up into two groups. And the crazy thing about echo chambers and putting yourselves into groups that only agree with you, eventually they keep getting split and split and split. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Till there's only two people, maybe you and your wife, or you and your significant other, and then boom, you get split. And then you become the only, you get down to the last echo chamber of all, and that's looking in a mirror and talking to yourself. And man, it's just not spicy. It's not fun and it's not interesting if everyone thinks the friggin' same. And I think, man, we need to celebrate differences at the highest level. I don't think differences is the bad thing. I think we need to have the ability to get offended, the ability to have a hard conversation and growth. The only thing we got to get better at is having the conversation. And that's why I start thinking about the 80s and the 90s, because especially I think in New York all the time. And I don't know if New York's like it that anymore. It's probably changed in the 25 years. I'm probably thinking more about the 90s, right? But New York, there was an honesty and a truthfulness to it that didn't let you kind of play the game that's being played right now. I think it's been changed, but, and that's when I get back to this analog versus digital. Do you know what analog versus digital is, Pops?
Yes.
So for those of you out there, analog would be more of listening to music on a turntable, a record. Digital would be listening to it on an iPod or an iPhone, right? And, or analog would be reading a book, an actual physical book, and digital would be reading an iPad or a Kindle or something like that, right? Analog would be having a cup of coffee in person. Digital would be having a Zoom conversation. You know, analog would be asking a girl out at the bar, and digital would be asking her out on Tinder, right? And, you know, a lot of people want to go back to the way things were. And a lot of people want to just go forward and forward and forward. And I'm back to that and versus or, right?
How about both?
That's the thing. And, you know, when we talk about even back to real estate, do you do relationship based business or you do online leads, right? Do you make phone calls or do you do Facebook ads? You do both, but you got to make sure the fundamentals are always there. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a drink with your friends, listening to a record player and having that experience. But at the same time, being able to put on Sonos off of your Apple Music, off of your phone, and off you go, right? That's
I
it.
use Alexa. I use
Exactly.
Alexa and I tell her exactly what I'm in the mood to listen to, and off it goes. And I love it. I love it.
But you got to be present and intentional. You know, a lot of concerts and comedians are making you give up your phone before the pandemic, before you go in, because people weren't even paying attention. They weren't there. And I think there's just an intentionality, and it is part of the issue. If you haven't watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix, you need to watch it. I mean, I don't like blaming social media, and I don't like blaming Fox News and CNN, because I take absolute accountability and responsibility for my filter and my frame. But it isn't helping, that's for sure. What?
I want to do a combination of life. I know when I'd speak to the agent and I said, "Oh, you did a deal with Judy. Isn't she great?" And the agent said, "Well, I never really spoke to her." And I said, "Wait a minute. You did a deal. How did you do it?"
Full text?
Text. And I said, "Call even at the end and say, 'Wow, what a pleasure it was working with you. You had everything all the deadlines, you did everything you were supposed to. Let's look for another transaction together. That now, I'm not knocking the text where you don't have to do unnecessary conversation, but somewhere along the line, talk about each other, how great you were with each other, what in commonalities you have. And you know, they'll say, oh, I was on Facebook and I saw the baby, how cute. But what I'm saying is during that transaction, personal touch has to be included.
People missing out on context and connection. You know, do you
And you know
know?
what I laugh is you're a combination, Dave, of both generations. And I don't know if it's everyone your age, but you have somebody old with the personal touch, and you have a ton of new of technology, but you do have, sorry, I know you're 42 and I'm 55.
But Angie has it at 30, at 33, turning 34. They're called Zennials, Generation X and Millennials, kind of in that 75, 76 to 86, like that 10-year gap. Listen, do you know, and don't get shy, do you know people that even teenage pregnancies are going down and people are having less babies and less sex? They're making love less. That's how
Well,
much.
maybe not take it back to having sex left, maybe not making love.
They're not doing either. The civilized countries, the rates of births are dropping.
Well, thank you for outproducing me and having three, because I get to have three granddaughters because of you. Thank you.
I keep telling Angie, there's just too many people having babies that we have to outproduce them and even it. But my point is, for better or for worse, there was less things to do back in the day, and you were less distracted. And we now have to intentionally. It's like we used to have.
Dave, let me throw back some age too on that statement. In 76 or 77, we had what was called in New York the Great Blackout. We were out of power for 3 days. 9 months from that time, more babies were born in New York than ever recorded. Because even in the 70s, when we didn't have what we have now, with electricity gone, more people were having sex rather than TV or this or that. So even in the 70s, what you're saying now proved true because of that blackout.
All I'm saying is, like, take the tools and don't let them control you, control them. The tools are freaking fantastic. You know how beautiful it is that we don't have to sit in an office all day now, and that this is freedom, but let it be freedom and not a prison.
Did you see the agent's post today? She punished her son for something, so she took away all his phone, his TV, and then she posted a picture of him sitting down and reading a book. And there's this cute little boy reading a book because that was what was left to him. You know, great picture, great
Our
point.
kids love this stupid thing called Roblox, and I normally wouldn't allow them to do it, but because they're not getting as much time around kids, I let them, because this is a time to connect with other people. It's like a little sim fantasy world. But they're so much more engaged and such better kids when they're not on that thing. And I'm so much of a better parent when at the end of the week, it gives me a notification that my usage is down 20%. Right? And even during the election last week, I looked at Angie, I said, we've been shit parents this week because we're so glued to you know what? Lola Tina, my 7-year-old, she's got such a humor. You kind of got this a little bit, like a wise ass humor. I don't know where she got it from.
Yeah,
She goes, breaking news? It's always breaking news. That's what she said.
She's right. Even I go and expect, and then they repeat themselves.
It's always breaking news. And I'm like, babe, we got to turn off this TV. And to go the whole way, I've been watching older movies because there's no new movies coming out, right? So I've watched some of the movies I watched in the past couple of weeks are Goonies, which, by the way, they say it's PG-13. That was a mistake trying to watch it with my girls. Point Break, Wedding Crashers, which is a little bit more recent, and Field of Dreams. And I'm watching it, and I'm watching how different, the early 2000s, the
You
90s.
couldn't have picked 4 more different movies that you just spewed out, that none of them are in the same category.
You know, this is such a great reminder for that people can change or evolve. When I watched Field of Dreams a couple of weeks ago, I made it part of my weekly Urban Nest class. And I said, you need to apply this to your business. And I haven't watched Field of Dreams for probably 25 years. And just like a great book that you pick up 25 years later, the movie doesn't change. You change. So you pick up things that you never realized were there. You see things you didn't realize were there, and you're a different person. So you're different. And I love watching these movies and seeing like what was cool back then or how people interacted or what was acceptable and things like that, because they're lessons. And we're so destined to repeat the mistakes of the past and do things the hard way that it's really good to go back and listen and look. You know, I don't want to say I'm a Renaissance man, but I really do appreciate those things. Like I spent half of my days looking at 69 and 68 Camaros or a Jeep Wagoneer from 1983. Remember the one that Joe Nunziata had, you know, because I have a desire to have that. Whereas I was a kid, all I wanted was new. Remember? Everything new. So you got to dig a little bit deeper and get contextual and get connection and, you know, start looking around and going, why are people I love and respect have different perspectives than me? I really am curious to know what the hell they're thinking. But that's incumbent upon people. So I just thought it was interesting and what we can learn from that. And that was that. And then lastly was the title. You know, one day, don't steal my idea. I'm gonna write a book called Just Give a Shit. Because that's the
It's going to be
secret.
5 in a mountain, 5 months, and you say don't.
What? Yeah.
It's going to be 5. Don't steal my idea. That means steal your idea.
Well, if they do, they do. I have the video that proves it was my idea. But the reality is, I got other book ideas. Don't worry.
Okay.
The reality is this. You just prove you care. Your business will explode into amazingness because people are dying for connection. Your relationships will get deeper. And you'll do your part of making this country and the world a better place. It's as simple as that. And I learned that from you, Pops. Like, and it's back to just leave people better than they found them, which is you. You know, my I sometimes go to make a post because it's Facebook and I'm like, I'm part of the problem. I'm not part of the solution. I'm not even going to waste my time. I don't want to engage. I don't want to do it. And Angie's like, you need to. And then I say to myself, if one person feels less alone because I put out one post, I created, I didn't consume, I created, then I'm good. When I go down the rabbit hole is when I'm scrolling, and let myself get triggered. And some people do have to be removed, Pops.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, some do.
Because ignorant and arrogant is definitely bipartisan. So, all right, my friend, what do you think? Anything else that we haven't talked about here? We went a little, we got a little deep. We related it to real estate. I want to play Billy Joel so bad, but I don't want them to ruin my video.
I didn't know why. Why did they do that, Dave?
Because it's not licensed.
God. I could sing. You want to pick the song? I'll sing it for you.
Come out, Virginia, show me the way. I also
That's
was
my
playing,
mother's name, so I like that song.
I was also playing The Cure, and I was also playing Hall and Oates. I can't go for that. No.
Do you know that you could go on Alexa and play a whole opera, a whole play? Like you could say Alexander Hamilton and say play the play, and they'll play every bit of the music from it. That's how cool it is.
Hold on, someone, I don't know why I had a participant join onto my video. I don't do Alexa. I don't do
She answers me sometimes when I'm not speaking to her. And she calls me Dave now. She does call me Dave.
So that's where, as it is, Angie is like, she puts the little piece of tape like right here,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know. Look at it this way. The great thing, I say, I forget how to make something and I go, Alexa, give me the ingredients. Then I go, Alexa, I just got cut. What do I put on it? Alexa, you could, any answer in the world is, Alexa, what's a Habanese? When I bought the Habanese.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's cool.
Listen, I feel like my TV's listening to me. I feel like my phone is listening to me. And
Here's the thing.
I got nothing to hide, right?
For all the time I'm staying home, I'm going to take advantage of Alexa.
Yeah.
You hear me when you call. Sometimes I got to go, Alexa, shut up.
Yeah.
Because I got music blaring. She answers, shut up. She does.
Yeah. I mean, it's good if you use it for the right things. I just, we are going to have that Moore's law in the next, 20 to 50 years, where none of us are going to have jobs and the computers are going to be doing everything for us.
Well, you could say, Alexa, how do I boil water? I mean, that would.
But what I'm saying is, like, if we don't have a little bit of Renaissance man in us,
I agree.
We got some problems. Listen, I'm going to give you guys a little reading assignment, which, by the way, I got a Porsche thing for you in the mail, on the new car of yours. That thing is hot. You should probably get that. But anyway, don't let the title of this book turn you off. First of all, the way you can handle what's going on right now better, the way you can get better at business, the way you can get better at having a conversation is by reading.
Yes, reading.
And one of my favorite books of describing what's going on and what really to worry about and what not to worry about tribalism and everything, is this book. Now, he also has this other book, which was good, but I like this one. Right? Mark Manson's one of my favorites. That being said, don't let the F word turn you off. He is one of the smartest people you'll come around. Read this book. Pops, I could drop it off. I know you don't like nonfiction too much, but you got to read. You got to expand your brain.
I go into fiction because it takes away. I go into fiction to take away some of the realities of the world.
Beautiful. You know what you should do? Read nonfiction in the morning and read fiction at night. That's how you grow. What? You don't want to do it?
I'm getting lazy in my old age. I'm watching Snowpiercer now. Is a TNT series, and I'm watching all that. It's great. You could shut it off when you don't want it and work. And guys, so you guys know, our phones are so busy that even though you're cut off from the world, you're not, because with business being this busy, I have 2 more meetings today, and I have 3 phone calls I got to call back waiting for answers from me. So
busy business being this busy.
Business is busy.
Well, in this, go back to the Moore's law. Like, things are going to change, and they're going to get worse before they get better. Like, we're going to have to really readjust how we live our lives. We're going to need context. Do some research, read some books, watch some movies. Fahrenheit, we're more in everyone says 1984. 1984 is not where we're living. We're living Fahrenheit 451. Read.
You ain't heavy, you're my brother.
God, I want to play music so bad. All right. So, I'm gonna call 11:55. I think we're good. Parting shots, pop.
Parting shots. Be aware, be cautious, have fun. Make your own fun. You know, one of the things we took out of the garage when this coronavirus, games, play Monopoly, play Scrabble. It's fun. You laugh, play cards, enjoy, be productive, be safe.
Couple of things. My over under is March 2021. You can take the over under.
For what? You shot?
Back to normal somewhat.
Oh, I would say June 2020.
You're taking the over. So is Angie. I'm going to be optimistic.
Mhm.
There's a part in Hamilton that says talk less, smile more, from Aaron Burr, right? I don't necessarily always agree with that, but there's something to be learned in there. I'm going to say hit the like button more, comment negatively less, and be nice, because guess what? Sooner or later we're going to have a Dave Tina party and you're going to want to be invited. Trust me.
Hey, listen, June is my 60th birthday. That'll be a good time to have a party.
And I know I said lots of booze. I got a couple of friends. I know people you don't drink because of that situation with your heart all those years ago.
I don't have to drink to enjoy. Give me good music, good food, and I am on that dance floor. I remember so many times people said to me, "What are you drinking, Dave?" Nothing. You know.
But it is a good amount of lube to get that stick out of people's ass. And if it sticks still there, you're not coming. You're not invited. And lastly, listen, what are you putting out in the world? You gotta leave it better than you found it, and just care a little bit and be willing to see the other people's point of view. You know, my buddy Kyle got into the whole Trump Biden thing off of my post. I'm already looking and seeing that the person that I deleted somehow is commenting on my pages because she's ugh. Anyway, I put to him, listen, I truly believe when you take away the names of the teams we root for, we're really playing the game of life more alike than different. That being said, I won't tolerate ignorance or arrogance from any side. Right now, it's not in short supply. But let's not let the small minority control the greater narrative. Let's take control. You have power inside. And listen, guys, stop waiting for permission from the people you follow to have an opinion or a voice. All right, Pops.
Love you, Davey.
Love you too. Have a great day of NAR, working, fun, echo chamber.
This is it. 7 days from now, I am no longer your regional vice president for NAR.
Yes. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.